All right. Well, welcome to the CXPS 2022 Q&A. I'm Ryan Sedan from Client Savvy. Thank you all for joining us today. We have our guest, Vanessa Pelletier from DAHLIN, who is here to share some of the updates and news of the work she's done for her CX-cellence award-winning CX effort over at DAHLIN. Always great to have an award-winning firm come and share their secrets and tell their story with us and give all of you a chance to ask questions along the way. So those of you new to this community, good to see you. If you have any other questions, you can check us out at clientexperience.org. And also want to specifically thank the firms that are sponsoring the Client Experience for Professional Services community. Of course, it was founded by Client Savvy. And we have several other great sponsors who have contributed. A&E Engineering, Brain Consulting, the Zweig Group, Newman Munson Architects, Withers Ravenel, and AXA Imaging. So thank you to all of our sponsors for being part of our success. So Vanessa, I'll turn this over to you, and we'll look forward to, I understand you've got a couple of slides to share with us, and then people can just ask some questions.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. And hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's still morning here on the West Coast in California. But really happy to be here. So I do have some slides to share, but before I do that, I'll just give you a quick summary of what our submission was and what we've been doing over the last couple of years. So our client relationship champion initiative is currently being implemented, and it started as part of our 3-year strategic plan in 2020. So that's going through the end of this year and informing us going into the 2023 strategic planning. So it all started in shelter in place during COVID. Everything was shut down here in California. And we took that as an opportunity to reach out to our clients and get some feedback through one-on-one interviews, mostly Zoom. And this was a great opportunity for us to get some feedback. And we hadn't really done anything like that before in the firm's 45-year history. So I guess I should let you know also that we do architecture, planning, and interior design, in case you're not familiar with DAHLIN. And actually, I don't think I've ever shared slides on Zoom before, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. But I can kind of walk you through some of the details, and we can.
At the bottom of the Zoom screen, there should be a little green arrow that says share.
Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Sorry as I stumble through this. We're all on Teams, so that has been our.
See on your screen, so we're in good shape.
Oh, okay, good. Whoopsie. Okay. All right, so here we are, client relationship champions. So as I mentioned, we did a series of one-on-one interviews, and through that, I tabulated some of the results that we got, and we found out that our clients were generally satisfied, which is what we were hoping for, but we really wanted to be more on the very satisfied, delighting our clients end of the spectrum. We also learned that, we were known as the gold standard in design, so we're very proud of that. And part of my goal here is to build DAHLIN's reputation not only as a gold standard in design, but for a gold standard in client service. So also interesting was when I asked them about how do they measure the performance of architect teams, architecture, budget, schedule, those are kind of just basic minimum requirements, right? And then a lot of the other feedback that we got was directly related to soft skills. So communication was a big one, listening, ease of executing, meeting the needs, that kind of thing. So it really helped us identify an opportunity to train our technical teams on some soft skills. They want us to make their lives easier, right? So what we did was, through strategic planning, we identified an individual from each of our 10 market sectors. And then I, along with another one of our technical principals here, we started to lead this group through a series of monthly meetings. And our goal ultimately is, by the end of this year, to receive 90% positive comments and 100% improvement from the previously surveyed clients. So part of the implementation is identifying how we're going to do this. So our method for getting this information through the one-on-one interviews, I can obviously only have so much bandwidth to do that. So we want to find a method of doing the survey a bit more broadly. So that's part of what I'm working on now. And through these meetings monthly, we talk about different things like sales essentials, active listening. That's been a really important topic. I've brought in professional coaches to do group coaching with our teams. So not only are we working with these champions that we identified from each group, but we're also bringing in others from the team's project managers, principals, and everyone is getting engaged in some of those larger group training exercises. And then client success stories, that's another big part of what we do, is sharing that. And it's really a great peer-to-peer mentoring experience. So also this year, we brought into our monthly meetings a book. So we're all reading the Dale Carnegie book together, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So it's an old book, but a lot of the principles discussed there are still very relevant today. So it's been fun going through that book with the team and talking about how those principles in each section apply to real client examples. So another thing that we did, in addition to, the soft skills training and the peer-to-peer mentoring, is we wanted to provide each person an opportunity to really see what are those milestones that I need to achieve as a technical person delivering my job and selling the work. So working with clients. So we identified each of those milestones that we see as critical on the path from being a technical doer to a seller doer. And these are the categories that we identified. So we wanted to provide everyone with a mechanism to do a self-assessment so that they could see, okay, at the beginning of the year, I'm at the stage of proposer. I'm writing proposals to clients for new business, but I'm not quite at the presenter level or developing my own business and bringing in new work. So it helps each person identify where are they now on this path and what is their goal, where do they want to be? And then at the end of the year, we do another self-assessment to see where the growth has been and what other needs that they have moving forward. So we also attach to this some quantifiable metrics. So we look at the number of new clients, sales, revenue, and profitability for the people that is relevant to. And lastly, I just wanted to share a success story. So this is from one of our clients, a very large client in San Diego. It's San Diego Unified School District. At the time when we started this, there had been some challenges, and we've worked through a lot of that. And I've had several conversations with this client over the course of 2 years. So our education team's been a great job putting their skills into practice and listening to what the clients want. So currently we've got over $4 million of projects with them active, and we've got another 5 million in the pipeline. So that client is very happy with what we've been doing to improve the relationship. And I think a lot of it has to do with the focus that we've had on the client experience and getting their feedback and finding ways to improve and apply that and share that throughout the firm. So that's the quick summary. So that's all I had to share. So I'll stop that now and we can open it up for questions and comments.
I have a quick question, Vanessa. You identified the relationship champions early on. How did you decide who those folks were going to be? Were they the leaders of those groups?
That's a great question, Tammy. So we wanted to bring in the next level of leadership. So as a firm, we're in this place now where we're doing some leadership transitioning. And some of our legacy firm founders are in the process of retiring. So another piece of this is really training up that next generation of leadership. So we worked with the sector leaders to identify who those rising stars were and people that we really wanted to invest in, and people who were willing to put the time and the effort in, because some people are less amenable to this kind of thing, as you know. So we wanted to start it out with a group that would be moldable and willing and excited, and then we took it from there.
Perfect. And how often do you meet then?
We meet once a month.
Okay.
Yeah, so last year we started this, so in 2021, so we had a group that went through every month last year, and then this year in 2022 we started with a new group of people.
Did you happen to do any follow-up surveying of that group just to see what they thought of the program?
We did, yeah. So that's where the self-assessment tool came. That's how that came about. So they helped us identify where they wanted to focus and needs that they had. And then we used that tool to get their feedback and ask them what was most helpful in getting you to your goal. What more could we do? So that's why we switched it up this year and brought in the book as part of our program. So we had a shared text, if you will, to go through. And I think that's been really helpful. So we do get feedback as we go as well. It's an iterative process.
Can I ask one more question before I monopolize all the time here?
That's fine. Yeah, we got a small group, so go for it.
So what would you say were some of the things that you would have done differently if you were, what were some of those lessons learned that you would have changed?
That's a good question. Nobody's asked me that before. Well, I would really like to be able to get more feedback. So I think that's where we're at now. When we did the original client satisfaction interviews, I didn't really want to call it a survey because it wasn't a survey in the sense that we didn't send out a survey. I had a list of questions that I went through with everyone, but I would love to have had broadened that a little bit. But I think given where we were with the culture of the firm and the leadership at the time, that was all that they were really open to.
Yeah.
And I think we were very transparent in sharing the feedback with the leadership group. And I would like to be able to share more of that feedback throughout the firm. So I think that's what I'd like to work on next, is finding a way to deliver to more people, because we're really relying on the champions from each group to take that information and then go back to their teams and to share it. So I'd like to find a way to draw more people in.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That was really great. Yeah, I got a lot out of that. Thank you.
Great. What firm are you with, Tammy?
I'm with Environmental Design Group in Ohio. So we have offices all over the state, but looking to branch out and trying to use CX to do that.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for your questions.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Vanessa, I wanted to ask, and you kind of touched on this answering Tammy's question, are any of these processes or even line of questioning that you're using to develop leadership going to be used to then develop new talent that's coming up so they can eventually get to those leadership roles?
Yeah, that's a great question, Alan. I'm working closely with our director of people and culture at DAHLIN. So I'm on the executive team, and that's one of the the great things here is our culture. This is embraced at a leadership level for top leadership. So I'm working closely with her, and she has a whole leadership development program and DAHLIN Academy. So we are working on how do we integrate this into our annual reviews and getting it into the system. So that's in progress. What firm are you with, Alan?
Oh, I'm with Client Savvy.
Oh, you are. Okay. I don't know if I met you in person at the conference. Maybe not. Thank you, Alan.
Hi, Vanessa. This is Jennifer Karnishnik. I'm with RTI International. I just wanted a question, and I'm sorry if you said this, but what kind of questions did you ask in the interview, in the one-on-one interviews? Like, how were they structured around, what you can do to improve, or what's working, what's not working, that kind of thing?
Yeah, good question, Jennifer. So I started with really open-ended questions. They weren't necessarily project specific. And I think that allowed me as a third party, even though I work for the firm, to be very objective in the conversation with the client. So they were very open with me in their feedback, whereas they might not have been with people they're working directly with in the project. It's hard to deliver that. So I started very open-ended. For example, I think I had 10 questions, and the first one was, what are the attributes that are most important to you in selecting an architecture team? So it was definitely more general, but that allowed me to kind of zero in on specific things that they were talking about and sort of take it away from, well, what do you look for in DAHLIN? Just, what's important to you in general. And then it would kind of drill into specifics on, oh, okay, well, you mentioned communication. Well, how would you rate us there? So I had like 1 or 2 questions that were quantifiable, and then most of them were qualitative, response driven.
That's very helpful. Thank you. And one other question, you mentioned this like peer-to-peer, mentoring experience by sharing success stories. We've sort of tooled around with like trying different ways to share success stories. We've had open forums and putting them out in a news kind of thing through the company. How have you shared them, and what have you found to be most successful? Because I think they're very powerful, the success stories, not just for project managers, but for other people who are looking at that program to see, the value to the company and the people.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jennifer. So I facilitate a lot of our group meetings at the firm. And one of them, every Monday morning, we have a new business meeting. So there are probably, 30 or 35 people on this call every week. And following that, I have a sales meeting with a group of people as well. So I take that opportunity to share the success stories there and the debriefs on a regular basis. So as it comes in, I'll share it. And then annually we do reporting with a very large group in the firm. It's all of our principals, project managers, associates, senior associates, all of our resource group leaders. So that's a very large cross-section of the company. And that's an opportunity where I give much more detail and aggregate things. But last year we had each of the champions do a presentation to share one of their top client success stories with the group, and we recorded that, so it was available to everyone in the company.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
You're welcome.
Some great questions so far. They've had you thinking, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is Erin. Sorry, my camera is not working today, so it's having a day, but I just had a couple questions for you as well. I wanted to see, when you guys are going through the process of what type of survey, what questions, et cetera, to use or come up with, why you went the direction that you did versus doing like a net promoter to kind of make it more multiple choice without some of the open-ended. I do like the open-ended, the interview style, and asking about the 3 ways to measure performance, but just wondering why you went that direction versus another.
Yeah, that's a great question too. Honestly, when this started, I did not foresee where it was going to go in terms of the scale of it. It started out with, hey, Vanessa, can you call a couple of our clients and, we want to connect with them. I don't know if we're doing really well on this project, So I'm like, okay. So I started my list and then provided the feedback from 2 or 3 clients to the leadership group, and they were like, wow, this is really good information. This is great. Like, I don't know, we didn't know any of this and they wouldn't have told us, so can you talk to more clients? So that's kind of how it started. And just the culture of our firm is very consultative, and we're not a huge company. There's a lot of different sizes of companies on this group, but to give you some context, we're 185 people. Last year we did about 30 million in net service revenue. So we're not, a 500,000 plus person company, and we pride ourselves on having like a very personalized service and great resources to back that up. So we're known as best in class in what we do, but we wanted to have that one-to-one contact. And I think just to get everyone warmed up to the whole idea of getting feedback, it was easier to do that, starting with a smaller group and gathering very specific anecdotal feedback before we take it to the next level. So I think this was a great way for us to kind of dip our toe in, because we've never really done this before, like I mentioned. So it's a completely new thing for people, and it was very uncomfortable for a lot of people that were working on the projects to have me reaching out and to be asking these questions. So I did deliver the positive feedback as well. There was a lot of great positive anecdotes that we gathered through this process. So that gave them a little bit more comfort. But in terms of net promoter, that's something that I'm considering moving forward. And obviously, I mentioned earlier, I want to broaden the group. So in order to do that, we'll have to come up with a new method, right? And I've talked to Client Savvy about their tools, so I'm looking into that and trying to find a way to survey more people. And I think that's where a net promoter score is really valuable. If you're only talking to 40 people or so, it's, I think that I wanted to dig in and get more quality anecdotal information from that. I think it was 40 or so people that I talked to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments or questions from anyone?
Are we going to time this Q&A like perfectly? All right. Well, Vanessa, thank you so much for the time and the insights. I loved the organic approach you took, in a moment of crisis with COVID. Hey, we should talk to some clients. And I'm not surprised at all that as you started presenting your findings back to the team, the team was, oh, more of this.
Mm-hmm.
Most firms that we've worked with, when you start getting feedback, usually people start saying, I want more of that. So great story, good example. What I think was really commendable about your approach was integrating that into your client champions program. I think a lot of firms are missing that component of it. And I've seen firms that have a client champion program, but they don't have the client insight piece to go with it. So that combination of client insight plus client champion, I think, is a really potent tool to both develop your internal people as well as developing your clients. So that's what I saw as commendable when I reviewed your CX-cellence award entry. And I know the others who reviewed it gave similar feedback. So if anyone's wondering why their submission was selected as a winner, that was really one of the very progressive pieces we saw that we thought was noteworthy. And what we're really looking for with the CX-cellence winners is stories that are exemplary. This is an example that others should follow. So I thought you did exemplary work. I really appreciate it. And a great job on the award.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Does anyone have any final questions or comments before we wrap up?
Thanks, Vanessa. That was great.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
All right, well done, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time, and be looking for some upcoming announcements real soon for what's going on with CXPS 2023. So dates and locations should be selected in the next week, and we'll have more details coming. So hope to see you guys all then.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Well, thanks, guys.
Bye.